What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to the PGA First Look. We are here for the year's second major. Incredibly excited for the PGA Championship at Southern Hills. Going to be a very fun week. We get to see Tiger back in action. We get to see all the big names back in action. And yeah, it's going to be fun. I mean, Southern Hills looks like an awesome course. If you go to the PGA Championship website, you can go through and look at each of the holes. It looks a fantastic course. So I'm definitely excited for it. The last time we saw this course was the PGA Championship, I believe, back in 2007 when Tiger Woods won. The course since then has certainly had some renovations, and we will cover those right now. As far as the course itself, they're going to be playing the Champions course at Southern Hills Country Club in Tulsa, Oklahoma. It's going to be a par 70 that measures 7,365 yards on the scorecard. Only two par fives, 632 and 656 yards. So these are going to be three-shot holes for a lot of the golfers in the field. You may, see a couple guys go for it in two if they can, blast it 350 off the tee. But I would be surprised if we see very many eagle putts this week. The fairways and rough are both made of Bermuda, and the greens are pure bent grass. The rough doesn't appear to be too thick. It sounds like reports are saying 2.5 inches. Due to the winter, it sounds like they just haven't been able to get the rough, as penal as they would like. But it should be still a very difficult golf course. The fairway is extremely wide, 40 yards wide on average. Typically, we see between 27 and 33 yards wide on average when it comes to the PGA Tour. So these are going to be much wider than usual. And pretty much the widest fairways that you're going to see outside of the Plantation course at Kapalua. And, I mean, those are like 60 yards wide. So certainly not comparable there. The green's very small, especially for being a course this long. So it's a par 70. I mean, we typically see par 72s that measure, around this length. And this is going to have, two fewer par fives on the scorecard. So the greens are very small. They're going to be fast as well. And then the greens, a lot of shaved off areas around the greens. So if you do miss, say you miss a little bit short or you spin it off the front of the green, it's going to be similar to, number, 9 at Augusta National, where if it spins off the front of the green, it's going to roll all the way down. You're going to see a lot of 30 to 50 yard pitch shots this week for guys that are going to be missing the greens. The bunkers are pretty deep, and there's a lot of water in play. If you look at the hole-by-hole breakdown, you're just going to see a lot of creeks and rivers, in front of the greens, on the side of the greens, a few lakes here and there. So I believe water is technically in play on 15 of the 18 holes, which, is going to certainly come into play when it comes to errant iron shots. The course, as I mentioned, it did have a renovation since the last time we saw it on the PGA Tour. They removed a lot of the trees. So, technically it's tree-lined, the fairways. But if you look at the hole-by-hole breakdown, you're going to see, pretty sparse trees here and there. They lengthen the course a little bit. Again, they widen the fairways. And the rough, again, I don't think it's going to be U.S. Open style of rough. So I do think that is going to be a big advantage to the bigger hitters. If you're long and straight off the tee, you're going to have an advantage every week, but especially on a course that is 7,400 yards and a par 70. I certainly think that is going to come into play this week. There's a big difference between hitting, an 8-iron into a green and hitting a 6-iron into a green. So I do like the bomber angle, but if you aren't a bomber, if you're good with your long irons, I certainly think you can make up for it. If you're a good scrambler, I think, saving par on a lot of these holes is going to be a very good score. And then obviously, if you don't have any weaknesses, that's a bonus. Typically majors test all aspects of a game, and experience in majors is certainly going to be, helpful as well. In terms of the comps that I'm looking at that I will break down here in a minute, I'm looking at courses that are difficult relative to par for one of the comps, which is going to be this column here. And then I'm also going to be looking at a few different courses that, I thought might, rate out similarly in terms of the skill set needed. So I'm looking at Augusta National, Torrey Pines South, Riviera Country Club, TPC Sawgrass, Muirfield Village, and Colonial Country Club. So those are going to be my comp courses for the week. Now, let's quickly go over some of the stats. So I'm looking at the strokes gained off the tee, pretty big weight to that. Good drive percentage. Again, I don't think, accuracy is going to be all that important this week. I would definitely prefer good drive percentage over accuracy, but Decent weight to distance and pretty sizable weight to off the tee, more than usual in terms of what I weight in my model. Pretty big approach to strokes gain approach. Pretty big weight to strokes gain approach. Ball striking. I like to look at this to see where guys are trending. So, for instance, Adam Hadwin over the last 18 months, pretty average ball striker. Last 10 months, getting a little bit better. 2022, he's actually gotten a lot better. Someone like Louis Oosthuizen's kind of trending in the wrong direction. Jason Kokrak's the same. Taylor Gooch is the same. So I like to look at this column to kind of spot trends in terms of guys that are ball striking, upward or downward momentum there. Proximity, I'm looking at from 175 to 200, 200 to 225, and 150 to 175. So a lot of long irons expected to be in play this week. So that's going to be these three columns here. Green regulation, birdie or better, bogey avoidance, strokes gain around the green. I might end up bumping this number up even more than 9% total. And then strokes gain putting with an emphasis on bent grass splits. Well, which brings me to, the overall stat rankings. And when you do download this model, if you are a RG Premium member, you can go through and, set all of these weights to be whatever you want. And then you can set the total stat weight to be whatever you want as well. So the overall model takes into account stats, major history, the comp courses that I talked about, and then form, both short-term and long-term. So it's a lot of fun to play around with the model. We'd love to have you join RG Premium. And if not, we appreciate you checking out the first look, checking out this video each and every week. And then this week, specifically, I added the major history. So this is going to be all the majors since the start of 2016. So I believe there have been 25 since then, maybe 24, because I think they had to cancel the Open Championship the year of COVID. So yeah, 24 makes more sense. So basically what I look at, cut percentage, top 25%. So how often they finish in the top 25% of those fields, top 10%, top 5%. Now, you're going to see some pretty amazing stats here when I sort by this column. So Brooks Koepka, he's played in 21 of the 24 majors since 2016. He's finished in the top 10% 71% of the time. Unreal. Top 5% 57% of the time. So if you look at anybody with the decent sample size, Higgs is 2 for 2, and he's finished in the top 5%, one of those two. But the next closest is going to be Xander with 47 and 42, and Brooks 71 and 57. Just an unreal track record at the majors. Obviously, the form is, going to bring his overall, ranking down. But at the same time, this is a guy that is built for the majors. And I've seen some numbers out there at 45 to 1. I think DraftKings has him. At early Monday, I think I saw 45 to 1 out there. So if you do like Brooks, you can bet him at a pretty good number, at least a lot better than the majors that we've seen the last few years. And then I have my comps. So the whole yardage breakdown, this looks at the whole yardage lengths of Southern Hills Country Club and, takes a look at the scoring, the par 3 scoring, par 4 scoring, par 5 scoring of those different hole lengths for each golfer. So these are the guys that rate out the best on the whole yardages at Southern Hills. You got Rahm, Morikawa, Scheffler, Sungjae, and Patrick Cantlay. Comp number 1, which I mentioned earlier, is going to be difficult golf courses. You have Rahm, Morikawa, Scheffler, Rory, and Hovland. So a lot of similar names there. And then the comp courses, the individual courses, the Augusta, Torrey, Riviera, all those that I mentioned. The guys that rate out well: Rahm, Morikawa, Xander, Dustin, and Patrick Reed, of all people. So yeah, I'm not going to be playing much Patrick Reed this week. Probably not any, but yeah. So when you do download the model, there are a lot of columns that are hidden here, and then you go through. It'll tell you the point per dollar ratings based on your weights. It'll tell you the guys that rate out the best on DraftKings compared to FanDuel, compared to Yahoo. So I certainly think it is worth giving it a shot, even if you want to try it just for this week. I highly recommend it. A quick look at my overall rankings. And again, I like to play around with the weights, so my weights may change a little bit throughout the week, but you will get access to my ratings in Lineup HQ for premium members. So at the very top, we got Rahm. A couple early value plays if we scroll down and just look at the pricing. Corey Connors kind of rating out as a good value. Fitzpatrick, Louis Oosthuizen, Russell Henley, 22 overall, and he's 7,200 on DraftKings and 8,700 on FanDuel. So that's certainly a price that I don't mind looking at this week. You have Jonathan Vegas under 7K. He's the first golfer in the ratings under 7K there. Aaron Wise, who has been playing some really good golf, good ball striker. His history in the majors, not great. 63% cut rate, but he's never finished in the top 10% of a major. And then you can keep going down. I mean, Lonto Griffin, 6,300. So, yeah, the model's a lot of fun. And, yeah, appreciate you watching this preview video. I want to wish everyone the best of luck at the PGA Championship. If you have any questions at all, feel free to reach out to me on Twitter or through our Discord. I'm always around to answer, any and all questions. So, best of luck, everybody. If I don't win the millie, I hope one of you do. Good luck, everybody.